Yoga teaches us to cure what need not be endured and to endure what cannot be cured. My name's Daniel Bradley, and this is In 4 Weeks, where every month I take on a new challenge and a new topic to make myself either healthier, wealthier, or wiser. And I briefly mentioned some of the areas in our world that seem to be cognitively destructive. It seems to me that politics, especially in the United States where I am, is increasingly dysfunctional, with its primary contribution to society being division. So, politics in the US, incredibly divisive. It also feels like people are more hesitant to commit to shared social experiences, whether it's a trip or a lunch or simply a birthday party, especially after quarantine. I don't know what the deal is, but we've got our son's birthday coming up in just a few days, and so few people have RSVP'd for it. And I know we've talked to people, say, "Oh, I can't wait," all this kind of stuff. But just like the verbal commitment to show up is seems to be waning with people in general. And it appears that online discourse and social media especially has continued to develop into just a toxic space where people feel relief when they even spend a weekend unplugged. And I know I experienced that with last month with this digital detox that I experienced. I spent a whole month away from social media and had a phone that didn't connect to the internet and all these things I mentioned earlier. And that month, you can go and see how my experience progressed from hesitancy to curiosity to contentment to, if anything, nervousness coming out of that experience, going back into a world where I had to felt like I had to be exposed to, all this negative, toxic communities online that don't really bring me up. They just tear me down. So here is a question for you to reflect on in this context. In this world we live in, how can you infuse your yoga practice with self-compassion and self-love? And here's 3 ways that I think that you can reflect on that for yourself, unpack these concepts of self-compassion and self-love in a way that hopefully can translate off the mat as much as on it. And so the first one is a gentle approach, really honoring the body's needs and limitations, and in your yoga practice, infusing it with kindness and self-observation, just being aware of oneself and what the needs are in that given moment, not just in general, but moment to moment. Where are your needs? And not pushing yourself too far, but having a gentle approach. And so the second aspect that you can help unpack compassion and love in your practice would be self-care rituals and integrating self-care practices like massage, relaxation techniques, nourishing rituals, mantras, all these kind of things that enhance your self-compassion and how you can nurture yourself. And if you really look, let's think about on a schedule, like a calendar, all the hours of the day. If you were to break it down, how much time in those hour increments do you spend taking care of yourself? Now, some of you, it may be a lot. You may spend most of your time taking care of yourself. If you're like me and you're married with kids, that time is marginal at best. There's a thin sliver amount of time where you're really taking care of yourself and in really practicing self-compassion and self-nurturing. And so it seems like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be living for others and outside of myself, and I can't really spend so much time just worrying about my own needs. I got to worry about the needs of others. Well, maybe taking care of someone else really starts with taking care of yourself and making sure that you are in the best place to provide and pour out for others. And so the third way that I think that you can really unpack compassion and love in your practice is through positive affirmations. And that's cultivating a positive inner dialogue. And I'm not just talking about just patting yourself on the back every once in a while, but really confronting that internal voice that is so critical of yourself, because we're all our greatest critics, especially on the inside. And really specifically using affirmations, being intentional about it, and incorporating that into your yoga practice to reinforce your self-worth and self-love during that practice. And so this is something that I think Yoga with Adriene that I've been following. You can check out down below the practice that I've been doing in her 30-day center sessions. It's like one a day that I've been following as a part of this reflection and process. I've really found that those are specifically really have quality affirmations woven into them. And so if there is a mantra that she says, it's very self-affirming in a way that is not necessarily something that I would tell myself off the cuff one day, but something that I think is important and I really gain a lot from when I come off the mat and after experiencing those with that practice. And so I encourage you to do the same and really try these out, not in a way that seems cheesy, but in a way that is probably something that you may not realize you've been lacking in your day-to-day life.